Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, folks. Welcome to another episode of the Marketing Your Practice podcast, the podcast for chiropractors who want to simplify digital online marketing, chiropractors who are wanting to know, how do I get more new patients into my practice? Today we're going to have a discussion all around that too. First, we're going to talk about fly fishing. Actually, before I talk about fly fishing, I've got to tell you, I'm super excited. If you hear a little bit of extra enthusiasm in my voice today, I want you to imagine, remember back to when you were a child, how it felt the night before Christmas. And maybe it still feels like this for you now, but that enthusiasm when you couldn't get to sleep, you were lying there, looking at the clock, thinking, when can I get up, when can I get up? That's how I feel right now, because tomorrow I'm going on holiday. I've got 8 days away with my gorgeous wife. We're going on a baby moon. This idea of a baby moon, I didn't remember baby moon's first time round, but we're going to a place called Noosa. It's here in kind of Queensland, northern part of Australia. And so those of you that are listening for overseas, if you imagine what kind of quintessential Australia looks like, beautiful beaches, white sand, that's where I'm going. It's a spot where Lauren and I got married a few years ago. And this is, I think, either our 4th or 5th time of trying to get there where our holiday has been reorganised because of the Rona. But anyway, we're very excited to be there. We're heading there tomorrow. And so I have this enthusiasm about me at the moment. I had a really busy, lovely day in practice today, which was good because that was a distraction. So that's going on in the back of my mind. Today, though, I want to talk with you a little bit first about fly fishing, okay? And you might be thinking, what does fly fishing have to do with chiropractic and marketing? Well, kind of nothing and everything. So I was listening to a podcast episode early on in the week, and 2 guys were talking about fly fishing, which couldn't interest me any less. I don't like fishing. I'm confused about fishing, particularly as a sport. I don't know why I get fishing when you catch the fish and you eat them. That makes sense. Hunting makes sense for me that way too. But when people catch fish and just let them go again, I'm confused about that. If you do that, if you're one of those kind of fishermen, then tell me what's fun about that. Pulling an animal in by its mouth and then letting it go again just seems cruel to me, but maybe I'm a bit old-fashioned. I'm definitely not a greenie because, as I mentioned before, I have no issue whatsoever against hunting, and I have no issue whatsoever. I know our food has to die for us to eat it. I love eating fish. But when people do it just for the sake of kind of sport, catch and release, that confuses me. But that's a conversation for another time. Anyway, these fly fishermen were talking about using polarized glasses and why they used polarized glasses. Fly fishermen in particular like to use them. Now, if you don't know what polarized glasses are, let me explain a little bit about this. I kind of did some research beforehand to find out how polarized glasses kind of work. It was interesting, but I'm a bit of a nerd when it comes to those kind of things there. During the manufacturing process, we see polarized glasses a lot on sunglasses, but they're not only in sunglasses. Any kind of glasses can have polarized lenses. They apply a chemical to the glasses, which helps to polarize them. In essence, what it does is it affects light coming into them, particularly light that's coming off a horizontal surface, particularly light that's bouncing off water. So if you happen to be out there fishing and the sun is bouncing off the water, it can give a tremendous amount of glare. Now, this is a problem because that glare gets in the way of the fishermen being able to see through the water and into the water. Now, when you put this special chemical and you polarize the lenses, it blocks out that horizontal light. Now, what it means is that the fisher people, can actually see into the water and they can see exactly where the fish are. This is really useful, particularly if you're a fly fisherman. Why don't we fisher people now? If you fish for flies. No, you're not fishing for flies, with flies. So you can cast your fly out there and land it kind of on the top of where the fish are. They eat it, you bring it in, you catch them, you eat them, okay? That's the gist of kind of things there too. So polarized lenses allow the fishermen to see where the fish are. Now, here's what's interesting, because I started to think about this too. The fish are always there, okay, in that same spot. We put the lens on and we can see them. Now, when I heard this, and I heard these guys talking about this, I immediately thought about you. Yes, you, my chiropractic brothers and sisters as well. Because this analogy runs perfectly for new patients. There's new patients everywhere for you. I promise there is. I'll tell some of the stories of how I have more new patients come to me than I know what to deal with. Now, admittedly, I'm only in practice for about 16 hours a week, but I have waiting lists of new patients that want to come and see me because I have polarized lenses on and I see new patients everywhere all around me. Now, in my early days in practice, it definitely wasn't always this way. I promise you it wasn't. In fact, I would obsess about new patients. Where am I going to get my next new patient from? And I get emails from you guys each and every week, understandably really stressed about this, because it can make or break, or not can, it does. It makes and breaks our practice. If we don't have a regular flow of new patients coming into us, it's really serious stuff. Now, what I want to do with you in this episode today is help you put on the polarized lens so you can see where all these new patients might actually be. The thing that really changed this for me, and the key belief I want you to take on, the key thought I want you to have, I first learned from Patrick Gentempo, and I would have learned it maybe 15 years ago, and it was a really key understanding for me. This was the first concept that I have of actually starting to put my new patient polarized lenses on. And Patrick said something along this. He says, Angus, you don't need new patients need you. Now, for me, when he actually said that, that was enough that it made literally a neurological and physiological change for me. I understood the value of chiropractic. I knew and had been in practice long enough to see the many lives that it changed. I also had a really good grounding in not only just the science of chiropractic, but also the philosophy of chiropractic as well. I understood that the body was self-healing, the nervous system was the master system. I'd done lots of James Chestnut's work at that stage too, and so I had a good grounding, but it wasn't until he articulated so simply that all of a sudden I thought, you're right. I don't need new patients. They need me. I have this wonderful product, and why am I projecting this neediness out to my community when really what I should be positioning myself as is the prize? I'm the one that's got something great to offer. You guys should be queuing up outside my practice coming to see me. And that's a lot of how it not only feels for me now, but that's practically what it looks like as well. Now, this is interesting. I want you to try some things on with me at the moment there too, because I want to see if I can get you to this place where you have your new patient polarized lenses on, where you start to see new patients all around you. And then you end up with the same experience I do, where you have too many new patients. There's a waiting list of them. It's weeks before they can come in and see you in your practice there as well. So I want you to stop for a moment and think about just this. How might things be different for you if you truly believed that new patients needed you more than you needed them? Now, this might be an easy thing to think for those of us that have been in practice for a long time, and if this actually looks like this. But it's harder to think of right now if you're in a little bit of scarcity. And maybe depending on how things are, I keep on thinking about my Canadian brothers and sisters in particular at the moment who are still going through shutdown after shutdown after shutdown. And if there is some real scarcity, and it's been weeks since you've had new patients, and when they come, they tend to disappear again. But I want you to just push that to the side for a moment. Imagine that we've moved into some kind of alternate universe where you truly believe that new patients need you more than you need them. How would that feel if right now you truly believed? Now, for some of you, when I talk about this concept, for some of you, you tell me that you would have a level of confidence, certainty. Maybe you might feel valuable. Maybe there would be a level of significance that you might feel. You might feel needed, worthy. Now, almost certainly you'd feel way less attached to the outcome of when the next new patient came in to see you and you were going through your initial consultation and maybe doing your report of findings. If you knew that there was a queue of them waiting out the door there, you'd be way less attached to the outcome. So think about it. Is that how it would feel for you? Valuable, certainty, confidence, worthy, there too. Now, if you took that feeling and you then extrapolated into your actions in terms of how would you show up in practice tomorrow, how would you act, what would you say? How would your communication be different if your primary belief system is that new patients need me more than I need them? Now, let me tell you why this might be really, really important for you to take this on. A guy by the name of Professor Albert Mehrabian, I think that's how you say it, to a guy out of UCLA. He ran a series of studies that suggest that we overwhelmingly deduce our feelings, attitudes, beliefs about what somebody says, not by the actual words that they're saying, okay, but by the speaker's body language and by their tone of voice. Now, this in essence, I will dive more into it. This is one of the reasons why I'm not a big fan of scripts in terms of here's exactly how you should do your initial consultation, here's how you should do your report of findings, here's what you should say on each and every adjustment. In fact, this guy, Morabian. Who knows if that's how you say it or not, there too. I'm going to just call him Professor Albert because that I can pronounce. Professor Albert, he actually went down and he quantified the tendency of how our message has an impact. He says 7% of it is the words, 38% of it is tone, and then the other 55% of it is kind of body language. Now, if you are, who you are being is, new patients need me more than I need them. That's going to come across so strongly that it's not really going to matter what words you're actually saying. So sometimes people will want to use the same words that I use, and whether it be in my videos or in any of my conversations, but they don't get the same results. And Professor Albert's work will explain exactly why that is. And so stop trying to say the same thing that maybe the chiropractor, your mentor, is saying down the road. Instead, start trying to be who they are. And that being begins with a belief that new patients need you more than you need them. Now, here's how this looks in my life. Here's how it shows up practically. Last week, I was going down to get some Thai food from the Thai restaurant that we love to eat at. We eat at all the time. And I got chatting with the guy who owns the restaurant. And I normally don't, Mark is his name, I normally don't talk to Mark much beyond, hi, how you going, and out of there. But this moment we had a little bit longer together and we got chatting about work and business. And I said, how are things going for you at the moment? He said, we're starting to do well again. And he asked what I did. Now, in the old days, when somebody used to ask what I did, I almost had a level of nervousness, like a little mild level of anxiety, because I'm going to tell them I'm a chiropractor. I'm then going to have to deal with their thoughts in around chiropractic. Do they like chiropractic? You know that funny thing where people go, oh, I don't believe in chiropractors? I still wonder what that means. I don't believe in chiropractors. Sometimes when people say that, if I'm feeling cheeky enough, my response will be, I'm not the Santa Claus or Easter Bunny. It's not a matter whether you believe in me or not. I exist, and sometimes I can do that if I'm feeling cheeky enough. But I wonder what people mean when they say I don't believe in chiropractors. So I used to feel nervous about it because I think I was projecting some form of maybe that there was going to be a disagreement that was going to happen. And then also I didn't want to come across as needy in any way too in terms of talking about chiropractic. And so often I didn't want to get into those conversations, but I feel very differently now. I love it because what I feel like is I'm the prize and I have something. That sounds almost a little bit egotistical, doesn't it? But you are the prize. You're very valuable. Chiropractic is a wonderful thing. Us as natural allied health practitioners, because I know there's, those of you that are listening that might be naturopaths or Chinese med practitioners. We're very valuable people in our community, and our communities really need to know what we know. And so I have that level of certainty and confidence now. And so when Mark says to me, what do you do? I said, I'm a chiropractor. And he says, oh man, do I need one of you guys at the moment? He says, I've got some shoulder problems going on at the moment. Now, Mark is quite a buff guy. He clearly is somebody that exercises a lot. You can kind of tell that from his physique. Now, normally in this circumstance, in the past, I would kind of smile and go, yeah, and then I would change the whole topic over that we're talking about because I didn't really want to talk about chiropractic because I felt awkward about it. Do you know what I'm saying? Do you ever feel that way when someone starts to talk about chiropractic? But that's not what I do. Now, here's the magic word that I say when I'm in these situations. And you have situations like this, I'm sure, when you're at parties, when you're at school picking your kids up, you're chatting with the other mums and dads, and you tell them you're a chiropractor, and they go, oh, man, do I need one of you guys at the moment? So Mark says to me, man, do I need one of you guys at the moment? I'm having some shoulder problems. Here's what I do. I go, really? Tell me more. Now, I heard that statement, and I learned that statement from one of my dearest friends, Dr. Russ Rosen, and I use it all the time. I use it with my family members when I'm talking to the kids. I use it with my patients, and I do this with authenticity. This is what's important, is I look at Mark and I go, tell me more, man. And he said, I've got this shoulder problem. I've been seeing one of the local physical therapists down there. I've been getting some massage, and it's really not getting anywhere. I'm still having some problems at the gym. It's really starting to bug me. Now, at this stage here, because I'm the prize and I feel confidence and certain in what's going on there too, here's the next thing I say to Mark. I go, really, Mark, would you like a hand with that? Okay. I see lots of people with shoulder problems all the time and we get great results. Would you like a hand? That's it. There's this wonderful proverb. We've heard it before, ask and you shall receive. This is another thing I had to look up again. Please don't think for one moment. This is going to be my first Bible quote on the podcast here as well. And I only know this because I looked it up on Wikipedia there. King James Version of the Bible says this, Ask and it shall be given. Seek and ye shall find. Knock and it shall be opened to you. At this stage, all I asked is, would you like a hand with that? I asked. And I asked not out of a sense of neediness. I asked because I know that Mark needs me more than I need him. I've got a waiting list of new patients. I'm going to have to try and find somewhere to squash him in now because I've invited him into the practice. And guess what Mark said? He said, yes, I'd love a hand. This is really, and there, new patients fall into my lap. And I have conversations like this all the time. These conversations are there for you, but you don't have your polarized glasses on. You don't see them. And because you don't see them, you don't take those next two steps. The two most important things that I do out of those conversations is tell me more. Now, sometimes in this circumstance, if somebody's already seeing a health practitioner and they're thrilled with the results that they're going with, so they're probably not going to start off the conversation by saying, man, do I need to see you? Or they're not going to complain about their shoulder if they're already kind of on the right path. And so I don't try and steal them away from somebody else because that's not a cool thing to do. But I just ask, tell me more. And then I offer, would you like a hand with that? And Mark says, yes. And as I'm going in to get my, my dinner for the night there too, I come out with a new patient. Now, the next step I like to do in this in terms of following through, and this is an important step, instead of handing my phone number over to Mark and saying, here's the practice, give the practice call on Monday, I say this, Mark, give me your phone number and I'll have Mackenzie give you a call when I'm in the practice on Tuesday. Because we all get distracted in those circumstances. I'm like that as well. I want to take control of the conversation. And when I get into the practice, Mackenzie gives Mark a call and I have a new patient. Now, that's what it looks like when you have the belief that new patients need me more than I need them. So the question that you might be starting to think about is, how do we take on new beliefs? How do we think new things? I've been thinking and been talking with you a lot about this over previous episodes. Now, for me, it was just the awareness of that concept. As soon as I heard Patrick say that, I thought about it and I went, man, that's exactly right. I'd been being needy beforehand and I was able to change it over almost in a moment there. Now, I was able to change it over because I think I had a really solid foundation in a couple of things. I understood the science that supported what I did, and I understood the philosophy what supported what I did as well. And the combination of those two things, and I'd had a bunch of time in practice that knew that I could get results. So for some of you, if you're trying on that thought of, new patients need me more than I need them, what comes up for you? What do you think about in that circumstance? Do you have the confidence that you can make a difference to somebody's life? And if you don't, what would you need to do? What would you need to know and understand? What continuing education would you need to? What conferences do you need to go to? I mentioned beforehand, a couple of people that have really helped me with my confidence, and certainly James Chestnut was one. Many of you as chiropractors will be aware of James. Dan Murphy was another there too. He was somebody that was really great. And Dan Sullivan is another chiropractor who does a really great job at teaching and having chiropractors armed with the science that has us know that, hey, listen, we're not quacks. We're super worthy. We're really, really valuable. We need to understand that. And for others of you, you'll have a really great understanding of the science and you'll need to understand the philosophy in behind as well of a conservative, holistic, naturalistic approach. So, lots we've covered today. We've talked about fly fishing. I got into some of the morals and ethics of fishing. I wonder if I'm going to get myself in strife about that too. I'm genuinely just asking the question. I love to know why people do what they do. So, where are you at with the whole idea of putting on your polarized glasses that has you see all the new patients that are out there in your community? I'd love you to put them on and try on the idea that you are the prize, okay? That new patients need you more than you need them. Gang, until next time, thanks for all that you do. Keep saving lives. I love you all lots. I look forward to my holiday. Probably next time I'm talking to you, I might even record an episode up there as well, tell you how it's all going. But you can check my Instagram. There'll be lots of beachy photos, I'm sure, over this next week. All right, that's enough for me. See you back here real soon. Bye. If you enjoyed listening to this podcast, you have to come and check out the Community Influencer Program. It's my monthly coaching program where we take all this material and I'll work one-on-one with you to apply, implement, systematize, and help guide you and your practice to the next level. Now you can join me on over at adiomedia.com/join. That's adiomedia.com/join. I'd love to see you in there.